just yesterday. Today we will review why we will innovate or we will evaporate. Innovation is the only way that we're going to be able to get out of this alive, so to speak. What is it that, and how can innovation help us to become resilient? The key word is really resilient. How is it that our companies, our organizations, ourselves as individuals can be resilient enough to be, to come out of this not only as, better than what we were before, but looking for new opportunities and looking for new ways to handle our business and our business models. So the question, I guess, is, do you want to innovate or do you simply want to be lucky? My opinion, I want to innovate. 5 themes are available that were noticed by McKinsey and many of us, because when the article came out, we were looking, we had already been discussing all this, and we were saying, this says exactly what we've been saying, but in a succinct way. So first of all, you want to have operations resilience. That's your first cog in your wheel. Second, you want to have cost reduction, which we've been doing with Six Sigma, with Lean, and so forth. But now you have to go to another level. You have to be digitized. We've been talking about digitization for a while, but now this has forced us into digitization, quick digitization. We have to look at the future of work. How is work going to be conducted in the future? Is it going to be the same? Are we still going to be around our offices much? Well, maybe not. So we have to take advantage of those differences and make it all part of what we do and how we do it. And then we have to reimagine. We have to totally think about our business model and see how it can be different. And all that then comes together into a couple of standards that we've just started to talk about here in this presentation. The first one is 50,002, which is, how do you manage innovation? How can you standardize innovation? That's a conundrum, isn't it? Well, it's with that you can actually, instead of being lucky, you can actually make sure that you're getting the innovations that you want when you want them and in the direction that supports the strategy of your organization. So what are the key things there? Well, you have resilience, which we talked about. You have the redesign of your services. You have adaptability. Your whole culture has to change. You have to be an adaptable culture. You have ideas, but now you got to manage those ideas so that you put them in line with the strategy of the organization. You want more ideas in that area as well. You have business model changes that you need to make. You got to be flexible. You got to reconceptualize everything. So that then leads you to the actual standard itself, because the standard talks about things that are very, very important. For anybody who has any kind of experience with ISO 9000 or 14,000 or 27,000, okay, then you know about the high-level structure for most of these standards. And you start with the context of your organization. You include the leadership and their commitment. Then you have the operation itself, which in the case of innovation, it's identify opportunities, create concepts, validate concepts, develop solutions, and deploy solutions. And then lastly, you have the support area, and you have the continuous improvement and feedback systems of the plan, do, check, act cycle. So that is a very high level overview of the standard, of the 56,002 standard. For more, we obviously that's something that we help you integrate into your own organization.
An IQ, and the IQ is the innovation quotient of the organization. Every organization has an innovation quotient. Just like the human innovation quotient, it consists of 5 scales. And with the human innovation quotient, the average is about 100. The range is 85 to 115. And we'll take you through the organizational innovation quotient. And just like a human innovation quotient, organizations can improve their IQ. We're born with a certain IQ. An organization starts with a certain IQ, but it can be enhanced, improved, built upon, And that's what we'll be covering here a little bit of the innovation quotient. So what are the human IQ scales? Well, we have 5 index scales in the human IQ. Each one builds on another and is interrelated. Verbal reasoning, the spatiality, the visual spatiality, fluid reasoning, working memory, and processing speed. And all of these things work together. It almost sounds like a computer, but this is the human IQ and the human IQ scales. The business IQ scales are similar. This 5 scales or five indexes, and they focus on, at the beginning, product innovation. That's products or services. All organizations deal with some types of products and services, but without processes, without the process piece, the product piece really can't be successful. So we also focus on marketing innovations and measuring that. So how do we know that the new marketing concepts are working and working well? And then management innovation. You've heard a lot about management innovation, the standards that Rick had described, starting with ISO 9000, ISO 14000, 18,000, 27,000, the innovation standards 52,000, and then we have the business continuity standard, which is ISO 22301. And all of these are connected with a high-level structure. The business model is the one that most of the organizations that you saw being described earlier are what is being the heart of innovation. How do we innovate at the business model, and how do we build resilience? So building resilience, according to the latest studies, of which McKinsey has produced a real gem, have laid out 4 things to build resilience. And IQ means building resilience. Review your asset strategy, including your geographic footprints and concentration of risks. Okay, so the geographic footprint is one of the keys here. And of course, the concentration of risks and assessing them. Then assess the make or buy decisions for flexibility. And they view, the McKinsey study views this as being a crucial decision point in moving forward. Transform for agility versus asset modularity and workforce upskilling. So how do you use this time to transform the workforce and upskill the workforce and analyze and see where you are versus where you want to be with the workforce? And we'll see that in the Swarm presentation video. And then build a more robust supply chain and risk management function. Okay, so these are the 5 areas of IQ. Okay, and here we have the product, process, marketing, management, with the business model in the center, which is the regulator. So business model innovation reimagines a sustainable operations competitive advantage. So how do you gain and maintain a competitive advantage, especially during the recovery times from COVID-19? Well, the next normal team structure blends the scenario thinking with agile implementation. And there's 3 levels to it according to the latest thinking, okay, and this success thinking. One is you need to have a plan ahead transformation team, and they do certain things. Then you need to have a design team of some kind to plan up front which expert design teams are going to be required for each scenario. Each scenario typically has a design team. And then you need to create implementation teams. So how do you put these teams together becomes essential, and how do you have a balance on the teams of the skill sets that you need?